Wagwan conscious family. Minister Ra here. I hope you guys are all doing amazing. Man, it's a new year, new times, new growth, new everything. New presidents. Huh? It's like so much is taking place on our beautiful planet. So much to be aware of, so much to be in tune with, so much to be grateful for. To all of you guys who are watching, I sincerely, express my gratitude for you taking the time out to spend a few moments with me. And in today's video, I chose to dive into a topic and a theme that I'm going to be focusing on for, I would say, the majority of the year. It's going to be a major theme in the work that I'm going to be pursuing. And as you can already tell, it has to do with decolonizing the mind. And I don't remember how the inspiration came to me, but I think I was watching a video where a Native American um, elderly lady was speaking, and she brought up something around the topic of decolonization. And for some reason, that triggered me to think of decolonization in the context of the mind. And I know the word colonization, hence decolonization, will carry a lot of heavy, particularly colonization, will carry a lot of heaviness with it. And that is for a reason. And that heaviness that stems from this word, due to its impact on a global scale, it now needs to be resolved and it now needs to be dealt with because of the times that we're in. And a reason, or part of the reason why this theme for me right now is so significant is because of the times that we are in. We are in such a profound period of human history where the consciousness of the global um, or humanity on the globe has been risen to such a point where we can actually consciously choose right now where we want to go. Because the level of awareness that we have with respect to where we are and with respect to where we are going, it is at a very pivotal point. And in having this awareness, in becoming aware of this truth for ourselves, we now have to choose and make a choice as to where we will stand. And I highlighted this in my previous video. So if you have not yet watched my last video, definitely check it out. It's about, where will you stand, or what will you choose for 2025? So check that video out. But I would like to think that you would like to position yourself on the path of light, the path of positivity, the path of goodness, the path of righteousness. That is the path that I represent, and that is the side that I will be standing firmly with. And so everything that emits from me, or everything that I share, will be pouring out from that depth to help in inspiring you guys with choosing for yourself consciously where you want to stand. And for many people in today's society, it might be a little bit confusing because of because of the whole colonization process mentally. As Bob Marley alluded to in one of his songs, he said that he spoke about freeing ourselves from mental slavery, and that none but ourselves can free our mind. And if only we could really understand the depth of those words and how profound it is to move through that process of freeing ourselves, of decolonizing our mind from the systematic approaches that have been implemented to keep us down, keep us mentally shackled, keep us spiritually disconnected. And no more than ever, conscious family, we should be able to clearly see this, because it's quite evident in what we're seeing on social media, in movies, in music. I think it should be clear that there has been a massive shift. And even before I go on, even in the history that we're taught, it's like the entirety of how we identify on this planet has been taken away, has been disrupted, based on the necessarily want to use the word agenda, but based on the efforts of others to keep us divided and in some respects conquered. And so recognizing that this is a thing, recognizing that our minds in truth and in fact have been overtaken by a lot of different themes, a lot of different disempowering ideals um, that we've held on to generationally, and that continues to keep us, as I mentioned, disconnected and, in a sense, blocked away from our own inner truths, from our own divine expression. And so, in knowing, for me, in knowing all of this, it was kind of pretty much only natural for me to move into the space of wanting to work against that, to turn the tables around, and to be a proponent of this narrative that we must decolonize our minds, we must free our minds from the limited the limiting beliefs that have been imposed upon us, and to truly connect with our true sense of self that is embedded in spirituality, that is embedded in a connectedness, a oneness with the universal consciousness. And I think even in moving into this topic, it becomes very important to define the word decolonization in this context, metaphysically, spiritually, to define the mind, to define even spirituality, because I know I'll be using these words a lot, and a lot of the times people have different references for what they may mean for you. So I'm going to briefly go over what those words signify for me from a metaphysical standpoint, so that you can have a better point of reference in this discussion, in our conversation here. Hey guys, Minister out here. This is just a brief intermission because I wanted to ask if you've already liked this video and have already subscribed to my YouTube channel. If you haven't yet done so, please make sure you do. I'd gladly appreciate your support. Now let's get back to the video. Now let's dive into those definitions. So first and foremost, I'll start with decolonize. And as mentioned in this context, metaphysically, to decolonize the mind is to consciously identify and release the mental, emotional, and cultural conditioning imposed by external systems of power or influence. It is reclaiming sovereignty over thoughts, beliefs, and spiritual truth. Now, metaphysically, the mind is understood as a dynamic, non-physical aspect of consciousness that bridges the spiritual and material realms. It is not confined to the physical brain, but is an expansive field of energy and awareness that plays a key role in shaping reality. From a metaphysical standpoint, to be spiritual is to align with and acknowledge the presence of spirit within oneself and in all things. It involves living in harmony with universal truths and recognizing the interconnectedness of all life. Being spiritual means cultivating an awareness of one's higher self, the non-physical dimension of existence, and the divine intelligence that orchestrates the universe. And lastly, let's define consciousness. Consciousness is the fundamental essence of existence and the medium through which all reality is experienced and perceived. It is not merely a byproduct of the brain or physical processes, but a universal, infinite presence that connects all forms of life and creation. So now that we have a better understanding of some of these words that I tend to use a lot, so as to bring more context to our discussion, if we were to talk on the lines of why is decolonizing the mind important at this point, well, first and foremost, in decolonizing the mind, it will allow for us on an individual level to better connect with our true sense of self, in terms of how we identify, in terms of how we express ourselves in our day-to-day lives. And this is quite massive because a lot of people live in such depressed states or states of abandonment because of not being able to embody their truth, to embody who they are. And this is truly an important part of our experience in being here on earth, because I think we could all agree that a part of this journey has a very strong connection to expansion, evolution, and expression. I don't think we all came here to just sit down and look cute. You know, every day is a day of continued growth and evolution. And each of us uniquely have been blessed with different characteristics that allow for us to relate to this external world that we're seeing, feeling, experiencing. And so giving way for that expression from your perspective, from my perspective, it's very profoundly important. Um, and so going through this process of decolonizing the mind, of liberating yourself from the limiting beliefs, the thoughts, the patterns, the programmings that have been holding you back, will allow you to shift into such a transcendental paradigm that, I don't know, it's just a blissful path. You know, we've been programmed to think of our lives in this very mechanistic way, you know, school, job, 9 to 5, family, in the context of how it's taught to us. When in truth and in fact, this journey, this path is way more dynamic than what we've been taught, than what we've been given. And to me, it is time that we explore beyond the boundaries that have been set, but explore it in a way that is connected to spirit, connected to the path that has been laid through universal principles. And by so doing, it will grant us the fulfillment that we so desire naturally, because this is in alignment with what is at the core of our being. But even more so, when we think about it, separate from the liberation, separate from the identity, there would be a greater means of having energetic alignment. And what I mean by that is, it is important that we accept and come to realize the fact that we are energetic beings. And the entirety of our being is manifested in forms of different wavelengths of vibration, whether that be through thought or other means of transmission, right? But it's all vibration, it's all energy. And whenever we are blocking ourselves, or whenever we have accepted the limitations or the divisive and oppressive thought patterns, because they're not in alignment with the core essences of our being, they end up causing blockages within us. And these blockages obviously affect how we express ourselves, how we move and relate in our day-to-day lives. And so decolonizing the mind allows for that energetic alignment, that natural flow that is at the core of who we are, as I mentioned. And it allows for a more natural and holistic expression of ourselves and connection with others as well. Not just people, but everything that is, because there is a universal consciousness within everything that is in existence, because we're all at the core made from the same ingredients. You know what I mean? So when you go at the quantum level, we're all the same thing. We're all light energy, you know, just moving at different rates. You understand? So not because something is solid, liquid, or gas, etc., means that they're inherently different. If you observe water and you know, observe its transition from those three states, does it mean that it's not water anymore? Does it mean that it's not H2O? Does it mean that it's not atoms, electrons, protons, neutrons that are embodied in that creation? No. At the core, we're all made of the same thing. And even beyond the atomic level, going into the quantum level, as I mentioned, it's all energy. Literally, it's all energy. And of course, you can do your own research into these different themes. Don't take anything I say for gospel. The things that I say is just to strike curiosity within you to go and do your own research. But this is facts, my friends. You know what I mean? Like, this is facts. So we are impacted by the thought patterns that we harbor in our minds, that we believe in. And so it is important that we assess this and take accountability around the beliefs that we hold and that we share and how we communicate, because it impacts others as well. So naturally, on a collective level, if we are to begin this process of decolonizing our minds and adopting um, more positively based mindsets, um, fostering beliefs that truly enable for our higher sense of expression, that is our more spiritually attuned sense of expression, collectively we will shift into a more unified state of existence. And we hear the narrative of how a lot of, well, not just in the past but even to this day, this whole plot of divide and conquer has been used against us as beings on this planet for centuries. It is time to reverse that foolishness, man. It is time that we step into a path that embodies unity and community. It's full time, friends. It's full time. You know what I mean? It is full time. And this is a part of my mission to share in this space and in this way around these type of topics, because at my core, that is what is there. There's a unified state of being. There's a strong desire for allowing us as beings on this planet to move into a space of community, and realizing that amidst our differences we are one, and we can honor and respect each other based on that context. So, saying that to say, guys, I strongly believe that pushing this theme of decolonization will have a massive impact. As I mentioned, not just on an individual level, but on a collective level. And I think, and not I think, but I believe that no matter where you are in your own personal journey, that you can begin the process of decolonization yourself. And I would say that it first starts with bringing awareness to yourself. It is no longer time to be running away from, but to charging forth into dismantling and breaking the shackles that have been holding you down mentally. This has nothing to do with anything external of you. This has solely to do with what you have and hold within you. And so in holding space for yourself to be able to sit down and to assess what are the beliefs that I am holding on to that is blocking my success, my abundance, my fulfillment, is quite important right now, more than ever. So I encourage you that at this time, to combat the colonization, mentally, that you first begin by bringing awareness to where you are, where you're at, to what's happening, to what is coming up for you. Whether you want to write it down, spend time meditating on these things. But I strongly believe that anything that is coming up for you now, anything that is seemingly creating some level of disharmony in thought, in behavior, you want to spend some time to truly assess it and to allow yourself to try to understand where is this coming from and why have I chosen to believe and accept this as a reality for myself. And upon doing that, begin to reform, transfigure, transmute these thought patterns into ones that are reflective of your divine truth, and ones that are reflective of love, harmony, peace, so that you can foster a better state of being for your divine truth. I really hope what I'm saying is making sense and resonating with you guys. But I'm really happy to move into this space to be able to go head on in addressing this topic and in sharing from this space about decolonizing the mind. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be focusing on this topic very heavily, among other topics, of course, but over the next several months, probably, I'll be sharing under the topic, I'll be sharing different subtopics to help you on your journey based on what I have experienced for myself, based on what I've discovered, based on what I've come across. And I'm saying all this too to say that this is nothing new, guys. Like this, the work, the knowledge that I am or I have been exposed to is nothing new. As I've mentioned in previous videos, in pursuing a path like this, you have to enable yourself to become open-minded. Open-minded in the context that you have to expand your intellectual and spiritual boundaries to be able to perceive more of what life has to offer. Why? Because our minds have been colonized. So the thoughts and belief of someone else's system, someone else's model and belief has been imposed upon you. And unless you're willing to be bold and brave, to expand yourself, to explore the depth of what that means, it will be very challenging to see beyond the veil. So I will always encourage you guys to remain open-minded and within yourself to foster that curiosity and that desire to expand in a more conscious way, in a more spiritual context, and know that it's in alignment with what is best for you. And by focusing in that way, what you need will come at the right time and within the right moment. You're always supported on this journey. You're never alone. Even if in thought you might feel alone, but you're never alone. Trust me, you're never alone. So I am excited to dive into this topic. I'm excited to grow, expand, and explore with you guys. And I'll be sharing as much as I can on the journey around the topic of decolonizing the mind for your growth, for your expansion, of course. And so yeah, this should be awesome. So of course, guys, I extend, as always, my sincere love and gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch this video. This aspect of my work is like super fulfilling. It's super joyful, you know, because it has to do with expressing oneself from the depth of who I am, which is what I'm doing for you, which is what I'm doing to help in your own personal expression. So I hope you find some value from this video, and feel free to drop a comment, like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.